Thank you for renting our RV. Let's do a little walkthrough. First of all, there are two sides to an RV. There's the utility side, where you have all of your hookups, such as the water, your electricity, the dumping, etc. And then there's the fun side, where you have the front door, where you have the awning comes out and you can sit under it and enjoy the view, using the awning, of course, only when it is a very calm day. We'll get to that in a minute. But let's start with driving. When filling up, use only gas, never diesel. And it is suggested that when you're filling up, you turn off the LP gas, which strangely enough is on the fun side. Simply turn the valve clockwise until it's off. And then it's off, and that's all you have to do. And then drive a little bit away from the filling station, and then you can turn it back on by opening it up. It's as simple as that. To use the backup camera, push the red button and turn on the lights, the car lights, because the camera is wired into the rear lights, and you get your backup picture. Now, the backup camera is only an assistant. Make sure that you have somebody outside spotting for you to watch for overhanging branches and things like that. When driving, remember that you are 11.5 feet high, but for safety, don't go under any bridges or overhangs any lower than 13.5 feet high. Some roads are tree-lined with branches hanging out into the lanes. Be very careful of those and stay in the left or middle lane if that is the case. Branches can easily damage the RV, and in fact is one of the most common causes of damaging an RV. Remember that you are higher and wider than even a large U-Haul truck. So take your time, be safe, secure things in the camper so they don't bang around, and you might even want to put the microwave dish in a drawer so it doesn't rattle. Back on the utility side, okay, here are the hookups. Let's go over that. This is your electricity. And you pull the cable out when you're plugging in at a camp. And as you can see, I have a surge protector attached to it. Leave this on. Don't take it off. It can protect your RV from frying if there was an electrical storm or something like that. So keep this attached and don't forget to bring it back. They're $125 to replace. Now, this is for a 30 amp connection, which is what you'll find at an RV camp. And so you just simply plug it in. Before you plug it in, it's always best to turn the breaker off if they have one, and they usually do. Turn the breaker off, plug this in, then turn the breaker on at the connection terminal. And then you're good to go. You'll have power inside. Now, some older RV camps don't have a 30 amp. They'll only have a 50 amp. If they only have 50 amps, then in the back in the storage, there's an adapter that you can use, and that'll plug into the 50 amp. 50 amps is fine for this, but you only need 30 amps. But if there's nothing else, then we have this. And if you need to plug into house power, the normal 110, there's an adapter in the glove box that you can plug into the 30 amp, and then you can plug that straight into somebody's house if you want to do it with an extension cord from their house. To hook up the water, the hose is kept back here, and you can use this both for city water and also for filling the tank. When you're using it for city water, there is a pressure adapter attached to it because the city water might have too much pressure and it could burst the pipe. So make sure you keep this attached when you're hooked up to city water. Now for filling it, to fill up your holding tank, you just take your hose, and you put it in here, and you turn on the water, and it'll fill on up. And you know that it's full when it starts splashing out. And then you just remove the hose, and that's how that's done. So when you get the RV, it will have a full tank. But in case you use it all up, that's how you fill it back up. It's quite simple and easy. This is where you hook up for city water. This is when you're going to be hooked up at a campsite and you won't be using your tank, you'll be using the city water. Now, when you're using the city water, you don't have to use the water pump because the city water will have pressure. But that's also why you need to make sure that you have the blue pressure regulator attached to the spigot so that the pressure isn't too heavy. And if you want extra pressure when you're taking a shower, then you can turn on the water pump, but generally you don't need it. And when you're running on city water, it will automatically take over for the stored water. So you don't have to worry about switching anything. The city water will take over. This is where we keep the dump hose. Pull it on out. This is the connector. Down here is where you make the connection. Way down there. Now, the sewage has two tanks. We have gray water, which is everything except the toilet, and we have the black water, which is the toilet. To empty these, what you do is you take off the connector. That's chemicals that just came out that was for clean sanitizing, nothing dirty, don't worry. And then you connect this. It will screw in and lock into place. Now make sure that that's on securely. Make sure that's on securely. Then you take this end and you put it in the receptacle at your camp. It will look like this. And this is to hold it in place. And then what you do is first you pull the black lever, the black water lever. And after everything is emptied out, you'll hear it'll stop making noise and it'll stop moving. Then you leave it open and then you pull the gray water lever and that'll start emptying out the gray water. When everything is emptied out, you push both back in and then you can unhook this hose. It's on there very good, which is good. Make sure I'm turning it the right way. Yeah, okay. And nothing should come out anymore. And then you replace the cap. You replace the cap. And if you would like, you could rinse this out with some water if there's a hose at the site. But it's not really that necessary. I mean, it's an extra step, which is nice, because the gray water will have rinsed out the hose pretty well. And that's just a sanitizing chemical that you see coming out. Then you replace the hose into the back bumper. Make sure to put the cap on, and that's it. That's how you empty the sewage. The generator is here. And you shouldn't really need to access this unless you're on a long extended trip and you have used the generator quite a bit. And what you would need to access it for in that case is to open it up and to check the oil, make sure that the oil level is proper. And that's the only reason you should need to open this, because it is operated from the inside actually. And this is just check the oil, make sure that it's showing nicely on the dipstick. Don't overfill just like a vehicle, but make sure there's plenty of oil in there. The generator is started from inside, and I'll explain that in a minute, and it runs on the truck's gasoline. So as long as you have at least a quarter of tank of gas in your truck, then the generator will run. Now, as far as keys go, there are 4 keys. There's one for the ignition, and it's also for the driver's door and the passenger's door. And there are 2 keys for your camper doors, one below and one above. And there is one nice little key, and that's for all of your outside locks, for your storage, the generator, and all that. They all go to this one key. Let's go inside now. Here is the main power switch. Switch it on and leave it on the whole trip. If you're not running the generator or plugged in, you'll still have battery power. The battery will power the refrigerator and the lights, but it won't power the air conditioner or microwave or TV or any of the outlets. And the battery charges when you're plugged in or using the generator, or even when the engine is running. If the battery starts dying, the easiest solution is just to turn on the engine, and that'll charge the battery up again. Here is where you start the generator. First, you push it to stop and you hold it down until the light comes on. Then you push it to start until it starts. Now it has to run for about a minute, and then you'll hear a beep, at which time the system is charged, and then you can start using the microwave and the air conditioner and things that take more power. Here's the water heater LP gas, just leave that on. Here are your levels. LPG, you can see it's full because all 4 lights are on. Your battery is fully charged. Your fresh water tank, which we just filled up, it's all filled. Your black water is empty, and your gray water is empty. So as those fill up, you'll have to monitor the black and the gray water so you'll know when to empty it. If water starts backing up in your sink, you know that your gray tank is full. If the toilet starts backing up, the black tank is full. So that's how you monitor that. Here is the awning. To operate the awning, you push the button and hold it. And when it gets all the way out, then stop it. If you keep holding it, it'll start to retract. This is the step light, so you don't stub your toe when it's dark. And these are your main lights, and this is the awning accent lights outside. But remember to only use the awning if it's a calm day. 10-mile-an-hour winds or less. If it's more than that, you could easily damage the awning. And a damaged awning is one of the most common damages that happens to RVs, and it's very expensive to replace or to repair. This is the control for the heater. It's the thermostat, and right now it's in the off position. You can hear it click. And to turn it on, you just turn it on and set it to whatever heat setting you would like. It's that simple. The LP gas would of course need to be on, which it needs to be on all the time anyway. And here is the wonderful stove. To start the stove, you turn the knob to light and then turn the spark switch. Until it lights. There we go. Okay, so that one's lit, and then you can adjust it. Next one, turn the spark switch. Oh, that one started easier, like that. So that's how you do it. Okay. To light the oven is a little trickier. You're going to need a lighter, which we have right here for you. Turn it to pilot, and then light. put a light at the end there, at the end of the burner, and push the knob. And the pilot should light. Once the pilot is lit, you can turn it on and it will light the whole burner, and that's how you do that. The refrigerator runs both on LP and electricity. Here's the on-off switch, and here's the mode. The mode is on electricity right now. Now it's on gas, but you're going to want to keep it on auto. That way it will switch automatically to electricity when you're plugged in. Otherwise, it will stay on gas and it won't turn off, and everything will be nice and cool. Here is the television. The television can only be operated on 110 volts, so it's either the generator or if you're plugged in outside. But it won't operate while the truck engine is on, which is a safety feature, so it can't be used while you're driving. But for entertainment for your kids while you're traveling, there's always laptops and iPads and things like that. This is for when you're parked. To operate it, there are two controls. One is for the television and the other is for the DVD. For the television, after you turn it on, press source down here, which is either going to be the television, which we're watching right now, or AV, which is the DVD. If you brought some other devices that you can plug into an HDMI, or USB, then you can plug it in the back and you can also access those too. For the DVD, choose AV, and then your DVD will work. And please enjoy the special Magic Show DVD that we made for your trip. Just pop it in and you'll be able to watch that. So that's the walkthrough. We hope that you enjoy your trip, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Happy travels!